This video contains spoilers for Pluto. Professor, will we ever see a day where there is no hatred? I don't know. We can only hope that day will come. Mont Blanc, North number 2, Brando, Heracles, Epsilon, Gesicht, and Zahad. I'm sure they're praying for that day to come. All of them. In the past couple of months, we have seen a dramatic escalation in conflicts taking place worldwide. We have seen innocent children slaughtered left, right, and center. And in times where basic principles of human rights and democracy are being threatened, and we're seeing a global rise in racism, xenophobia, discrimination, and even just hatred generally, I increasingly come back to Pluto and reflect upon both its message and Astro Boy's. Naoki Urasawa and Takashi Nagasaki wrote Pluto from 2003 to 2009 along the backdrop of the Iraq War, and Osamu Tezuka wrote the original Astro Boy in response to his own experiences in Japan, both during and after the Second World War, with a heavy focus on contemporary human rights movements and the Vietnam War. But what characterizes both stories and both authors is this pervasive philosophy of humanism, the staunch belief in the sanctity of all lives and the equality of all people, irrespective of superficial differences like the color of their skin or where they're from. As of the day I'm uploading this video, it is the second anniversary of the Pluto anime adaptation, and to commemorate the occasion, I wanted to make a short piece reflecting upon the message of the story. A little while back, I came across an absurd tweet dismissing Pluto as having no message other than America bad. And while I know that's such a crazy take, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody who would even remotely agree with that, it did motivate me to make a video dedicated to the message of the story, especially since it's one that I've thought about and reflected upon ever since I first read the manga several years ago. And ever since I went and read Astro Boy, which was even more political, I'd only been thinking about it even more. While it is obvious who the in-story United States of Thracia and the Kingdom of Persia are supposed to be, with it being a commentary on the Iraq War and US military intervention in the Middle East, the moral of Pluto is obviously not that America itself is bad. Urasawa's works take place all across the planet, following people from so many different countries, including the US. The majority of Pineapple Army and Billy Bat, for instance, outright take place in the US, and neither have a universally negative perception of the country. They depict both positive and negative aspects of the human experience within the US, positives like freedom and diversity, and negatives like the racism minorities face, especially in the Deep South. But it never universally paints the country as good or bad. Every country has good and bad people, but sometimes a country's government and a country's military can engage in heinous actions. And Urasawa hasn't shied away from depicting that in his stories, the same way that Tezuka didn't hesitate from depicting that in Astro Boy and the rest of his works. Criticizing a certain policy and criticizing a needless war is not the same as just calling a country bad. Ultimately, much like a significant proportion of Urasawa's bibliography, Pluto is about what it means to be human and what it means to lose one's humanity, this time across the backdrop of robots and artificial intelligence, as opposed to something more akin to a metaphorical monster. In Naoki Urasawa's Monster, the story posited that to lose one's humanity and become a monster was when you considered one person's life inherently more valuable than another's. Pluto maintains some thematic continuity with that idea, especially by exploring it through the lens of family, a fairly common motif across Urasawa's works. But Pluto ultimately frames one's humanity not so much by your species, your blood, whether you're organic or artificial, or anything of that sort. It frames humanity around the capacity to feel empathy and emotion. In that sense, even the robots within Pluto are no different from us biological humans. The capacity to feel intense love and pure hatred are both innately human, and this dichotomy between love and hate is at the core of almost every major character in the series, whether they're robots like Adam, Gesicht, or Zahad, or humans like Professor Tenma and Adolf Haas. Ultimately, the series shows that these chains of hatred bind us and doom us to this perpetual cycle of conflict, And it also demonstrates why us humans end up bound by these chains in the first place, sometimes out of love, which is again, innately human. Just like Astro Boy, Pluto is not a story about good robots fighting bad robots, but about the emptiness of war, the evils of racism, xenophobia, discrimination, warfare, conflict, and at the root of it all, hatred. So what's the message of the story? What was Pluto actually about? It's a story of pacifism, universal love, forgiveness, and most of all, hope. Just like the greatest robot on Earth, it's a prayer for a day that, one day, humanity will free itself from these chains of hatred. Will the day that hatred disappears ever truly come? We don't know. We can only pray that that day will come. Whatever the case may be, nothing comes of hatred. Once again, happy 2nd anniversary to the Pluto anime. If you haven't seen my more in-depth analysis of Pluto from last year, or my Gesicht character analysis from a few months ago, feel free to check those out as well. In the comments, please let me know your interpretations of the Message of Pluto and the greatest robot on Earth. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for sticking around to the end, everyone. Special thanks to Maxi, and with that in mind, I'll see you later.